I've always loved being a part of the church, the local church. Started in student ministry right out of college, moved from Tulsa to Houston and served at a phenomenal church there for almost 12 years where I met my wife, and loved church ministry. Never saw myself doing anything else, but at the same time, never saw myself planting a church. Kind of a tragedy happened in our life. We have a 12-year-old son, and in 2015 we had a little girl who was stillborn, and we went through 3.5 years of secondary infertility, and it was during those times where I had friends call me and said, "Hey, I think you could plant a church." And I was like, no, this is where I'm at. Well, meanwhile, during that time, we had a moment where my wife woke up 2017 and said, "Hey, I think God's gonna give us 2 babies." He gave me 2 names, Glory Bell and Willow Bliss, and we were doing fertility treatments at the time, and so I thought, okay, God's about to reward us double for our trouble. Look at God. And 4.5 months of fertility treatments came and went, and we didn't get pregnant. And so we thought, okay, did we miss that? Glory Bell, Willow Bliss. Well, fast forward January 2018, during 21 days of prayer and fasting, I'm up at the church praying, seeking the Lord, asking for direction, and I felt so clearly the Lord say, the twins I want you to give birth to, one's a child and one's a church, because I want you to pastor Glory Bell. And that was a defining moment for me. And I came home and I told my wife.
I just felt this peace, like, Lord, wherever you're calling us, yes, like, we want to go. And so we went to our pastors and we're like, hey, this is what we feel like the Lord's saying. What do you think? And I remember our pastor saying, this is the right next step for you guys. And it was just a couple months later that we were onboarding with ARC and getting ready for our intensive weekend. Once we had a yes in our heart, we started talking about where should we go? Where's God calling us to? So we made a short list of a few places, and we started going on site for insight, is what we would say. And as we drove into Waco, we just kept having these moments. We kept meeting people. This is the Bible Belt, it's Texas. Maybe it can feel over-churched in some ways, but we kept meeting people who did not have a home church or felt like they were disqualified from a given local church for whatever reason that was. 6 months into moving here, we were doing startup parties, getting closer to launch. We had some friends come in town to help us with one of our events. And then we had about 120 people come to that launch party. It was just an epic weekend.
We had a serve day before we ever launched.
Yeah.
We bought down the price of gas to 99 cents. Again, we hadn't launched the church. We had like 30 volunteers show up. We're like, wow, like God really is in this.
Yeah, and what was amazing for us personally, before we moved to Waco, I remember our pastor saying, as you delight yourself in the Lord, He's going to give you the desires of your heart. And He told us, I believe as you go to launch Glory Bell, I believe God's going to give you a baby, and you're going to be able to mark the growth of the child with the growth of the church. And so here we were 6 months into moving to Waco, had this incredible weekend with all these wins, and I also found out that I was expecting a baby with no treatment, just a miracle. So here we are now. We have a 5-year-old church, and we also have a 5-year-old son. And launch Sunday went great. We had 2 services, about 500 people.
Yep.
I think 100 came from Houston to cheer us on, but it was a great launch. We quickly were able to move into our permanent location in about 8 weeks or so. And things are going great. First 5 months were awesome, just exactly textbook, like you would expect it. Then we personally had some struggles. Our son was born premature at the beginning of 2020. So we were back in Houston with NICU visits. We were in the NICU for 40 days. He had to have surgery in Houston. And on top of all that, COVID happened. Right. So here we were with just a 6-month-old church, a newborn with a lot of complications, and then a international pandemic. But God was faithful.
There's a lot of churches and a lot of religion represented in Waco, but there was a lot of emptiness inside of the city. There's a lot of poverty and brokenness. And so this Isaiah 61 passage was such a resonating truth. And the later part of that says that you'll rebuild the ancient ruins, and the shameful name will be replaced with double honor. And so we saw the shame that had been over Waco that was being rewritten, and God is writing a new story in Waco. We've always felt like, man, we get to be a part of something miraculous just by saying yes. The first year, it did include a childbirth that was challenging, but it was miraculous. It included COVID, but we survived. In a lot of ways, we thrived. And then in year 2, we expanded, and we opened up a Champions Club sensory classroom for families with special needs children or sensory needed children, and we added 2,000 more square feet. So we started in 7,000, we added 2,000 in year 2. Year 3, went to our landlord and said, hey, could we open up a coffee shop? Give us a chance to serve more people. They said, we'll think about it and let you know. I said, secondly, they're hosting some things next door that are not ideal, not part of what we're trying to do. It's burlesque shows, drag shows, and tragically family-friendly drag shows. And our landlords had no idea. I said, yeah, it's not really ideal. They said, okay, well, we'll find out what we can do. I said, lastly, we're 3 years in on a 5-year lease. Would you give us a chance to buy the building? And they said, we'll think about it and let you know. Well, within 2 weeks, the city councilwoman at that time organized another family-friendly drag show right next to our church. So we said, we're gonna protest with prayer and worship. Not with picketing, but we're gonna intercede for our city. And we did a night of worship. We started our event an hour before. We offered free childcare. And the most incredible thing happened as we began to pray for those that organized this event. They canceled their event. The city councilwoman resigned that week and left our city. And our landlords came to us and said, hey, we know you asked for 2 years, but we're not going to renew that tenant next door, their lease. So if you want to buy the building, we'll sell it to you, but you got to buy it right now. And we said, there's a yes in our heart and a gap in our finances. And we've been on this miraculous 2.5-year journey to move from leasing 9,000 square feet to owning 21,000 square feet. In the middle of all that, we got to open Waco's largest coffee shop. And don't think like church lobby coffee shop, think 5,000 square feet, state-of-the-art, refurbished, renewed space.
So this corner that was actually working against our community now is Glory Bell Coffee. We do First Wednesday worship in there. We play worship music inside and outside on the sidewalk 24 hours a day. Our staff goes in and prays for people. We have tons of Bible studies around the community happening in Glory Bell Coffee. We've had Baylor student groups say, hey, can we organize our own prayer night? Can we organize a worship night at your coffee shop? And we say yes. It's been amazing to have our doors open more than just Sunday mornings, but all throughout the week.
We've seen more than a dozen people come first to the coffee shop that have ultimately gotten baptized. Some of those have given their life to Christ for the very first time, and the coffee shop was their front door into Glory Bell. If you are prayerfully considering launching a church because you feel stirred in your heart, the short word of encouragement is yes. But maybe you have some reservation or pause, like, can I do this? I don't know if I can do it. We're not really qualified. How would we come up with $300,000 to build a launch budget? Here's what we learned is you can't do it, but God can. And truthfully, it's His church and He will build it. If you are called to it, if God gives you vision for it, more than a cliche saying, He will send the provision for it.